Good morning and good afternoon to everyone. We appreciate you joining our webinar today. We're going to get started here in just a few minutes. Want to make sure we give everybody some time to hop on. But as we're waiting and while we're waiting, if we could just introduce yourself, right? Tell me a little bit about who you are and where you're from in the chat we have here. So would love to hear from everyone who you are, where you're from. Let's see. Who's going to be the bold one to post first? Ooh, no one, huh? That's okay. I won't put any pressure on you. There we go. We've got Florida. We've got some New Mexico. My Danya Ana fam. We got Bethune Cookman in the building. Oh, perfect, perfect. Thank you all. We got Nebraska here. Kelly was actually the first one to take on that challenge. I appreciate you all communicating with me. I was getting worried for a moment. I thought I was here by myself. Hakeem from the Philippines. Thanks for joining us, Hakeem. So we'll give it about 30 more seconds and we're going to get started because I don't know how long it's going to take me. And I want to be a steward over y'all's time. Danya Ana, few of us up here from Danya Ana. Love to hear it. The Upswing team from Charlotte and Raleigh. I'll tell you where I'm at here in just a little bit. And you know what? Let's get started. Let's get started. I know some folks will come in here in a little bit, but good morning again and good afternoon to everyone. We hope y'all are having an amazing start to your week, an amazing start to your academic year, and we appreciate you joining us today. Right. And really giving us this moment, this opportunity to share with you not just what we do and why we do it, but ultimately how it benefits your bottom line and overall student success, right? So often we have these conversations and 100% we're here to serve these students, right? We exist to empower students to be their highest and best self, right? But I don't think we talk about the business of student success enough, right? So today we're going to talk about the business of student success, right? Across the nation, we know the message is the same, right? Budgets are tight, right? And institutions are doing everything that they can, plus more, right, with the resources that they have. And in today's tight budget environment, right, institutions like yours understand the shifting needs of higher education and the need to support their students, whether they're non-traditional, right, whether they're historically marginalized students. We understand that these students have a variety of intersecting identities that limit their ability to engage with traditional resources. And so because of this, guess what we do? Institutions, they address these concerns by purchasing chatbots, right? By purchasing teletherapy, by purchasing online tutoring, and much more to meet the unique needs of students. At Upswing, we know you're making the most out of these resources while you're working to accommodate the needs of these students. And while you're doing that, our goal, not only are we going to help empower these students, but we want to help you maximize your budget, right? By really identifying cost saving opportunities through consolidation. While providing consolidation, we want to also be sure to deliver top tier support to the students to the students who need it most. So as we go on to our agenda on the next slide, we'll see an overview of exactly how, we plan to navigate this conversation today. So during this presentation, we will cover some housekeeping items very briefly. I'll provide an introduction for those who don't know me. We'll discuss who Upswing is, the effectiveness of the student support resources Upswing provides, and of course, we'll highlight a sample case study. We'll also explore the return on investment, followed by ensuring you have time at the end to ask some questions and we get those answered for you. And so before we get started, we welcome your questions, right? So please direct all of your questions to the Q&A chat here in the Zoom. And this will ensure, and to ensure I'm staying on track, right? To make sure that we're being a steward over your time. I'm not going to have you here too long. I will answer your questions during the Q&A portion of the presentation. And so with that being said, who am I? You all have told me who you are, where you're from. But as I introduce who I am, right, my name is Willie Barnes Jr., right? I live in Orlando, Florida. I'm married. I have 4 children under 7. And I received my MBA a couple of years ago after being one of those adult learners who previously stopped out, right? But most importantly, out of all of this, I'm a believer. What do I mean when I say I'm a believer? I believe college students are believers. I believe they're believers because they believe this environment, this degree, this certificate, this opportunity will provide them with the skill sets they need to make their dreams a reality. When it comes to those students who need the most support, we know there's a variety of reasons why they stop out and drop out, but oftentimes the common denominator is that life doesn't really care about their plans to persist and graduate. Life is going to life, and when the adversity of life gets bigger than the belief of going to school, stop outs and dropouts are the result. We're here to help combat that. We're here to work with you to help combat that, right? We also understand that, our non-traditional and historically marginalized students are more likely to stop out and drop out than their traditional counterparts. And these are also the students who are least likely to raise their hands to ask for help. So today we're going to briefly take a look at how Upswing supports our partner institutions, right, by ensuring their students, specifically their non-traditional students, right, their historically marginalized students have access to the holistic support that they need to not only persist and graduate, but to thrive while doing so. So how did all this start? So Upswing was started about 11 years ago by Melvin, our co-founder and current CEO. He started the organization based upon his own experience, personal experience he had when he was an undergraduate at the University of Georgia. See, Melvin grew up in a rural town in South Georgia and was one of 68 students out of a class of 250 students at his high school to graduate. Melvin has mentioned that his experience growing up in rural South Georgia was one that he felt grossly underprepared him for what was to come during his time at UGA. But despite the odds, Melvin graduated and founded Upswing based on the belief that every student should have access to the student support resources they need, regardless of who they are, where they come from. So let's take a moment to really look at a few data points before we get going any further. Why exactly are students dropping out and stopping out? According to the National Center for Education Statistics, the number one reason why students are dropping out is that they're first generation and low income, followed by academic failure, lack of belonging, physical and mental health, and transportation issues. The question I have for us, though, is do these stats actually tell us the full story? We believe that there's so much more complexity to the why behind students not being retained, persisting, and especially graduating. We believe that because of the intersecting identities of every student, it could be any one or more of these intersecting identities that threaten a student's chance of making it through the finish line. And when we talk about the students Upswing aims to serve, it's these students, right? It's the non-traditional students. It's the first generation students, the minority students, the low income students, right? It's the adult learners, the students from rural communities, student parents, working students, veterans, and dual enrolled students. At Upswing, we believe that when we build resources with the intersecting identities of these students in mind, we truly build inclusive resources for all students. And so now we understand what traditional support services typically look like. They generally look something like this, right? We have the student at the center, right? And each department is their own island. And it's up to the student to navigate, right? Where to go, how to get there, who to talk to. And that's even if they have the confidence to cross those uncertain waters. We know that in 2024, that the the profile of the students that we work with may not look the same as they did 10 years ago. We know that students are telling us that it takes a lot of courage to raise their hands and ask for help. And we're not just talking about those students who are considered non-traditional. We're not just talking about those students who are considered historically marginalized. We understand that it is becoming increasingly difficult for all students to raise their hand and engage with the help that's available to them. And so at Upswing, our objective is to remove the islands and the isolation, to bring all those student support resources into one centralized location that's easily accessible for all students, no matter who they are or where they are. And so here's how we do that. It means a holistic student services platform that was built to truly wrap around the entire student. Again, many of you all are doing this, right? Which I'm going to touch on in a little bit. But in other words, it's an ecosystem designed to support the entire student. That means academic support like 24/7 tutoring, advising, early alerts and analytics, and non-academic support with mental health and well-being solutions. That includes teletherapy support and ANA, our SMS engagement and belonging tool. All of these resources in one place, all designed to remove the barriers of access for students. As we continue through this presentation, I'm going to briefly touch on these resources to really ground us in the quality of support Upswing provides. So when we start talking about uncovering cost savings opportunities through consolidation, you can feel confident in knowing that the quality of the student support will remain supreme. We're not jeopardizing quality to consolidate. We're going to, in fact, enhance the student experience. We're going to enhance the resources that are available to student while shaking loose some budget, right, through the various forms of ROI that we'll touch on later. And so we're going to start off by taking a look at, again, the various different academic and non-academic resources that are available to students through Upswing. The key importance here is really highlighting the quality of these resources to empower you to understand and believe that you're not losing quality when we talk about consolidation. Okay. And so the first thing we're going to look at is Upswing's tutoring solution. Students can easily schedule tutoring sessions with campus tutors or access Upswing 24/7 online tutoring, all from the same platform in Tutor Marketplace. The Tutor Marketplace is available to students day and night, anytime, on the weekend, at all times. Both campus tutors offering online sessions and Upswing tutors offering 24/7 offering and Upswing 24/7 tutors will meet with students directly via the platform in Upswing's virtual learning classroom, removing the need to have to go to external platforms like a Zoom. Upswing's diverse tutor marketplace features over 250 tutors across a variety of subjects, allowing students to select the tutor who fits their unique needs, right? Including those fluent in multiple languages. Due to Upswing's beliefs in humanizing online support resources for students, our Upswing's 24/7 Upswing's 24/7 tutors default to camera on and audio on during all synchronous tutoring sessions. In addition to synchronous tutoring, students have the option to utilize the Writing Lab and Upswing's asynchronous assignment review. Asynchronous assignment review is a 24/7 drop-off and review for any type of writing assignment. Students can expect to receive holistic and inline feedback from Upswing writing tutors, and we guarantee the paper will be received back by the student within 48 hours. Our current turnaround time for assignment review is actually under 24 hours right now. And so as we move on, Upswing also has an advising solution that enables institutions to have all their advisors within the Upswing platform, so students can easily schedule directly with their advising and or care team. The advising solution includes things like early alerts that are designed for academic intervention. And similar to the tutors, advisors or care team members who offer online support are able to meet with students in the Upswing platform via the virtual learning classroom. And so next we'll briefly touch on Upswing's check-in management. And again, as you can see, I'm going through the various resources that many of us oftentimes are using a separate vendor for, right? So right now, if you have these resources that I've mentioned, right now you're probably at least 3 vendors, right? And so next we'll touch on Upswing's check-in management solution. Check-in management is for those partners who use pen and paper for students to sign in and sign out of various on-campus resources. Of course, we understand the need to track student usage for funding and budget purposes. Therefore, Upswing provides partners with a check-in management solution that enables students to check in and check out from various locations on campus. The check-in and check-out solution provides an efficient and effective way to track on-campus activity and student engagement. And then next, we're going to really get into the mental health, right? And when we look into Upswing's mental health and well-being solutions, I want to ground us in saying that we believe in offering solutions that are designed to supplement each campus's approach. We understand that each institution and sometimes each campus is different, right? So we must factor in the available staff, the departments, the preferred way of operating, the needs, the missions, the students, and so much more. We also know that no resource can truly be a one size fits all. So we believe in a model that recognizes and honors those differences. So when we look at our mental health solution, it keeps all of that in mind. What what we would like to highlight is that we are laser focused on mental health and well-being support, specifically and solely designed for higher education, both for the students as well as the faculty and staff. And so there are 4 key buckets our mental health and wellness solutions fall into. The first is individual teletherapy counseling with 50-minute HIPAA compliant online sessions with the licensed in-state counselor. The second bucket is on demand 24/7 crisis intervention, a place where students can call 24/7, 365 to receive immediate crisis assessment or support from a master's level trained clinician in crisis counseling. The third bucket is our well-being workshops that have live psychoeducational sessions on specific topics that allow a group of students to learn skills, tips, and strategies for managing a wide variety of mental health and life challenges. In addition to those workshops, we have on-demand psychoeducational self-paced videos covering similar topics, but giving students a multi-channel option for support. And then finally, we have proactive on-demand emotional support with Anna by Upswing, a tool designed to be an unlimited 24/7, 365-day tool for students to use with no barriers, no credits, or limits associated with it. And so right now, I just think I've touched on about 5 different resources that many of us have in some form or another, right? Whether it's one or all of them, utilizing a variety of different vendors, if not 4 or 5, right? I'm going to keep pointing that out as we go through there. Right now, as you can see, when we look at how Upswing seeks to serve from a business perspective, yes, we're here to empower these students, but when looking at the business of student success, we see that the quality doesn't diminish, and it only makes sense that we can reduce our expenses through not having so many vendors and consolidating our resource into one ecosystem. But as we move on, again, that brings me to Anna, right? We were talking about Anna at the end of the mental health and well-being slide. And so Anna isn't the common robot chatbot we see so often, right? Anna is an SMS-based student engagement and belonging tool that is powered partly by AI and partly by humans. We call the humans the Upswing Anna team. At each partner institution, we create 13 to 15 campaigns to send out to students throughout the course of the semester. These messages range from providing students with information about deadlines and campus resources, to asking them how they're doing and inquiring into their mental health, to linking them with tutoring services, or sometimes just even sending them a note of encouragement. But over the last year, Anna has had over 2.5 million conversations with students and has actually shown to increase the likelihood of students graduating by 13.7% from the baseline graduation rate. On top of that, every single one of those conversations is linked to a dashboard that campus support teams can use to get actionable, insightful, real-time data about their students. And so when we really start looking at the impact, right? Upswings, the impact of Upswing's academic and non-academic resources have prevented over 60,000 dropouts and stopouts, right? Has increased retention by nearly 5%, has boosted student engagement by nearly 8%, and has shown to improve students' GPA by 0.05 points for every paper that was reviewed by Upswing tutors. One of the partner institutions that we're going to highlight for you today is North Carolina A&T. One of our leaders and admins at North Carolina A&T, Amy Anderson, actually highlighted in one of her reviews of Upswing just how Upswing actually complements their efforts through enhancing accessibility. Ms. Anderson stated that it's hard to be available to students 24/7, but this tool, Upswing's ecosystem, allows us to provide the support that they need. On the next couple of pages, we'll share a simple case study, really providing an example of how Upswing's suite of resources was able to amplify North Carolina A&T's student support. And so let's dig into this NCA&T example a little more. The challenge that North Carolina A&T was experiencing was, one, they were having rapid growth in their on-campus tutoring. Two, they were really unable to support niche and upper level courses with their current tutoring solution. Three, their focus group data revealed that students were studying between 12 a.m. and 3 a.m. when the tutoring center was closed. And then four, they needed a 24/7 support solution that offered flexible, personalizable, personalized service accessible anytime on students' personal devices. And so where Upswing was able to come in and provide solutions to address North Carolina A&T specific needs, right, was one, provide them with the ability to schedule on-demand and future sessions with both Upswing or on-campus tutors. Two, the ability to amplify student support with asynchronous assignment review. And then three, increase student engagement with reminders, announcements, and encouragement campaigns specifically from Anna. And so when we look at the numbers specifically for the results that that North Carolina A&T was able to achieve, in only 2 years, NCA&T was able to show an increase in their engagement by 33.85% on their student support platform. They were able to retain an additional 21 students, which resulted in over $74,000 in tuition and fees being retained by the institution. In another quote, Mrs. Anderson states that working with Upswing to identify key times for sending reminders about advisor meetings and tutoring through Anna has been very impactful. It's also students engaging with Anna and asking questions, right? When students engage with Anna and ask questions, the admins there at NCA&T get alerted to any students who are thinking about dropping out or having mental health issues. And Amy details how she has been able to intervene with the appropriate resources so those check-ins and interactions really do make the difference. And so again, that speaks to North Carolina A&T's needs, if I go back a slide, they needed support with an SMS engagement tool. They needed to tighten up their tutoring solution to both offer to better support their on-campus tutors and offer 24/7 tutoring. Oftentimes, the way that many institutions would go about tackling this situation is that's three different vendors with three different agreements, three different timelines, and who knows what the cost is. It only makes sense that Upswing would be able to come in and consolidate and help shake loose some available budget by providing that in one solution. We're going to talk about the ROI that comes with having one source to where you're not dealing with 4 or 5 agreements. You're not dealing with 4 or 5 support teams, right? Your admins aren't dealing with 4 or 5 different sets of data, right? And so that's going to bring me to another quick overview of a valuable campus insight that our partner institutions gain when partnering with Anna. Because Miss Anderson had really mentioned the power of Anna and the difference it makes in their institution and being proactive. And so our team has recently published a white paper entitled the Anna Insights 2024, findings from the 2023-2024 academic year. I believe many of you may already have this report, but in the event you have not received it, our marketing team actually just put it in the chat for you to upload that report. I welcome you to go into that report. There's a ton of incredible data that really speaks to the power of having a pulse of the campus, having the pulse of the campus through students engaging with Anna. And so what the Anna Insights report actually revealed, again, is the pulse of campus life, right? Which provides admins and support teams with actionable data to proactively enhance student support. And so, for example, this year's Anna Insights report stated that mental health support and finding friends were the top 2 choices selected when students were asked what they needed more help with. 43.5% of students indicated that they could use some extra help prior to finals. More students requested encouragement from Anna throughout the spring semester versus the fall semester. And 44% of students responded to a spring mental health campaign during high stress periods. As I'm reading these, few insights from this report, I'm sure some of you were probably thinking about how if you had access to that type of information about the pulse of your campus, how you could be proactive in cultivating solutions to solve for these needs. That's the power of a tool like Anna. When students truly feel connected with it, they feel comfortable in being honest. Students trust Anna because of its empathetic design and the support team, the human support team. This trust, it also encourages students to share openly, giving admins and support teams real insights into the actual needs and concerns of their students. And so what we've done up to this point is really touch on the effectiveness of Upswing's suite of academic and non-academic resources. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, it's important for us to really bring home and emphasize the quality of support that students can expect to receive when working with Upswing, because our resources are specifically designed to reduce barriers, right, to minimize isolation, and to empower those students to use the resources who may not have the help-seeking behavior, right, who may find it very difficult to raise their hand and say they need help. And what we know is that these are the students who need the most help. These are the students who are the most likely to stop out and drop out. And so now that we've really taken a look at the effectiveness and the quality of the suite of resources, so you know you're not losing quality through consolidation. You're actually enhancing quality through and consolidation. You're actually enhancing the student experience through consolidation. Now it's time to really transition into what this looks like when in terms of a return on investment for a partner. And so, return on investment can have, can be financially or have soft costs, which we're going to touch on. As we've mentioned, we know that Upswing is on a mission to help more non-traditional and historically marginalized students graduate. However, in that process, we're also able to help institutions maximize their budget by uncovering cost savings and um, by uncovering cost savings through consolidation and a variety of to also experience a variety of return on investments. Here are a few of the ways consolidating with Upswing can provide a return on investment for our partners. The first ROI we'll touch on is the reducing of operational expenses through consolidating resources, right? Through consolidating resources and reducing the number of vendors that are providing you services rather than having agreements with 4 or 5 different vendors, right? How much could you save by consolidating all those resources, right, into one holistic wraparound solution? That then leads to the second ROI, which focuses on how streamlining the processes and consolidating support into a single platform gives our admins and support teams more time in their day, right? We know our admins and support teams work tirelessly to provide to with a to-do list that is longer than the hours that they're at work, right? To provide students with the support that they need so they can thrive and make their dreams a reality, right? By reducing the complexity of managing multiple vendors and helping them and managing multiple, customer success teams or multiple IT supports, right? Our admins and support teams are able to reallocate that time to doing things that's going to help move the needle for the students y'all are there to serve. In addition to that, it also gives them a single point of contact to go and gather all of this data, right, around student success and student support to be able to work with your hero, right, who is essentially our customer success team, to talk about, all right, this is our data from Anna, our SMS engagement and belonging tool that's proactively reaching out to students, not waiting on students to come to them and be chat GPT on a website, right? This is our tutoring platform where we can see all of our campus tutors. We can see all of our 24/7 Upswings 24/7 tutors and how our students are interacting and scheduling time with them, right? We can see the subjects that they need the most help with, right? We can also see this is the mental health solutions, right? That the mental health solutions that our students are getting getting support in, right? And how that's impacting their ability to stay in school and graduate, right? All of this information and data, think that was 3 or 4 vendors right there. All of this in one location, all with the support, right? All with support from one hero to help really strategically think, all right, now with all this data, how can we continue to move the needle to increase engagement, increase usage, increase retention, increase graduation rates? A true partnership is what we're after. And when we increase staff and admin team's capacity, right, they're going to get more time in their day to do what they love to do, and that's supporting their students, while also being able to leverage the resources that we have to effectively strategically plan for how to be bigger, stronger, faster for their students. The third ROI is similar to what we highlighted in the NCA and T case study, right? It's Upswing's impact on student retention. We know that these resources, because of how we deliver them, right? We know that these resources can show that they're able to help students stay in school and graduate, right? And when students stay in school, right? When we retain students, We also retain their tuition. Retained students pay tuition. Students who stop out and drop out don't. I know this is a conversation that oftentimes we don't have, right? Because it is all about the students. And sometimes having these business conversations can be uncomfortable. But in a time like today, when it is when everyone across the nation is talking about tight budgets, tight budgets, tight budgets, how can we take what you have and what you're already doing, elevate the experience while also shaking loose some additional resources to be able to allocate to some other strategic plans? That's what we're here to do. That's what Upswing is able to do when we really look at a holistic wraparound solution. And so the big three return on investments I really want us to leave here today thinking about is one, Upswing's ability to reduce your operational expenses through consolidation. Two, Upswing's ability to increase staff and admin's capacity due to consolidation, right? And three, Upswing's ability to retain students and their tuition dollars. We understand that each institution is different. And so after the Q&A slide here on the next page, because we're getting ready to wrap up, we did this fairly quickly. There will be a QR code to coordinate a conversation to really discuss, right, how Upswing can help you uncover hidden costs, right, hidden cost savings opportunities, while still elevating the student support experience for both students and staff. And so with that being said, I am not going to push this out any further. That is the presentation here, right? And so what I have now is for us to find out, what questions do you have for me or us?
Thanks, Willie. While we're waiting for some additional Q&A, I know one question that we commonly get from potential partners is, we talked a lot about how important it is to purchase the whole suite of solutions because that's really what's, the key to holistic student support. But do institutions actually have to do that, or is it okay for them to maybe pick and choose from Upswing's suite of resources?
I have to cough. One sec. Sorry about that, Elena. Yes, great question. So everything that we offer here at Upswing with our suite of resources is completely a la carte, right? And so if your specific need is to get a proactive SMS engagement and belonging tool, right, we can utilize Just Donna. If you need to update your tutoring infrastructure, we can utilize, just the tutoring solution. And so we're here to meet you where you are and really provide a solution that meets your needs. The reason we talk consolidation is because we truly believe that that's a way to really shake loose some additional budget that we may not realize is there during times where we know budgets are extremely tight.
Thank you. We did actually get a question come in through the Q&A. It says, how does your system integrate with our CRM Salesforce?
That's a very good question. And so when you mean by integrate, sometimes integrate can mean different things to different people, right? So when it comes to something like because Upswing is essentially a student support platform, a student success portal, we find that being able to have a link within the LMS or whatever systems you're utilizing where students would be able to for students to engage, you're able to embed the Upswing portal, which is simply a web page, into pretty much any platform that you're using where students would be able to engage. Now, if you're talking about integrating in the terms of, data with Salesforce and things of that sort, that's a conversation that I would want to have further with you to really kind of get an understanding of what it is exactly that you're looking for. Because again, integrate can mean different things to different people, but oftentimes, right, folks want to know, how can students get access to Upswing in places where they're already hanging out? And with that, we can generally do that with just embedding a link wherever they are. I hope that answered your question. And on the next page, if you are someone who's new to Upswing, please scan the QR code and we can dig into that a little further to uncover exactly what it is you're talking about.
Thanks, Willie. I know another question that we often get is just, how Upswing can integrate and even in some cases promote campus resources. Given that, we're not in any way trying to replace things that campuses have already. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that and, just how we can work with schools to make sure that we're highlighting their resources and promoting their resources as well as, what they choose to do within the Upswing platform.
Absolutely. Another great question. And that really kind of goes to the first question is our objective is to meet you where you are and make sure that we're filling a gap that meets your specific needs, similar to that of how we did with North Carolina A&T, right? And so as it relates to being able to essentially, Anna, be able to direct students to your campus resources. At the beginning of every partnership, our team will do a data scrub essentially to uncover, and we'll have a Rolodex of campus and community resources that you'd want students to have access to. And so in the event that a student goes to Anna and asks Anna about, I need help meeting with an advisor, and you're using a certain advising solution that's not Upswings, they will Anna would be able to direct that student to your campus resource. And of course, in those areas where Upswing is supplementing and amplifying your resources, and with Upswing resources like Upswing tutors, we would be able to direct them to Upswing resources as well. But to be clear in this answer, Anna is able to direct students to wherever you need them to go to receive the support that they need. And the most important thing about that is that Anna's a proactive tool, not a chatbot waiting for a student who has help-seeking behavior to come online and say, where can I find, right? Anna's engaging with students on a weekly basis so they're comfortable, which leads them to then, hey, let me text back really quick. Hey, Anna, you know where I can get some tutoring, right? Anna, mental health is a thing. Can you help me? And whether that's directing them to the campus counseling center, right? Or to the campus tutor location, whatever it may be, Anna's able to get them there, however you want them to get there.
Thank you so much. I would say I don't see any more questions in the chat, but we can maybe hang out here for a couple of minutes if you want to bring up that QR code for folks, Willie, and we can see if anybody has last minute questions.
Perfect. Well, as promised, here's the QR code. But before we really kind of get into that, I just want to say thank y'all for your time today, right? I think we did good with timing. Right? I didn't keep you too long. Um, but I want to highlight that if you're a current partner and you're looking to figure out, okay, we have Upswing, but how can we really maximize this resource, right? How can we really find ways to shake loose some additional budget that we didn't think we had, because it's being spread so thin? I want you to reach out to your hero, right? You'll get an email, but for you to connect with your hero. But I want you to reach out to your hero so you all can coordinate those efforts and figuring out how can Upswing help you be bigger, stronger, faster in the solutions you provide for your students, as well as maximizing your the budget that you have to see if we can be that tool and resource to help amplify your ability um, to work with specific initiatives that you may have. How can we free up budget to help you touch on various initiatives, right? And so if you're a partner, I want you to reach out to your hero and get some to coordinate that conversation. If you're new to Upswing, you want to explore how Upswing can enhance your student support, right? And uncover cost saving opportunities. Please scan the QR code And by scanning the QR code, you'll be directed to a Calendly where you'll be able to coordinate a conversation with our new partnerships team. Of course, if you have any questions or you want to reach out to me directly for anything, my email address is on the screen. It's willie@upswing.io. I'm here to serve and be of value. So please don't hesitate to reach out if there's anything that I can do to support you. But most importantly, again, I want to say thank you for your time. We here at Upswing, we thank you for your time, and we hope and wish that you all have an amazing rest of your week. And that concludes today's presentation. Bye, everyone.